Good morning, all you people. Today I'd like to talk about neutrinos, what I have found a neutrino to be. For those of you who click off after 10 seconds, a neutrino is a photon with spin around the third axis. Okay? So it's just a photon, but it's got one extra dimension of spin, which makes it spiral. So, the photon is spinning in 1/1, like it's spinning once around the x-axis at the same time as once around the y-axis as it travels down the z-axis, okay? But a neutrino is spinning once around the x, once around the y, and then it's also spinning around the third axis. Now, the only way that a neutrino can do this is if it spins at 4 times the frequency of the photon, or 8 times, or 12 times, any multiple of 4. And I'll tell you why that is. A photon, when it's pointing and it starts to spin, it spins around the x 90 degrees to get to the bottom, okay? But at the same time, it's spinning around the z 90 degrees to get sideways to its direction of travel, right? Now, as it continues to spin around the z and continues to spin around its first spin, now it's coming up. It started going down, it turned sideways, it kept on spinning, but now it's pointing its back end towards the direction of travel, and it's coming back up. Okay, and it continues to spin. With its back end pointing that way, it'll go 90 degrees up, but at the same time as it goes 90 degrees up, it spins around the z and gets sideways again. All right? So then it continues to spin around the z and it comes back down the front. So the front of the wave is always at the front because of this one-to-one spin. Now, the only way that you can give it that third spin and make it a neutrino is if during the 90 degrees of spin where it goes from the front to the bottom, the third axis of spin has to do 360 degrees. So that means it has to go 4 times as fast to stay at the front with the photon, okay? Or 8 times as fast, or 12 times as fast. So the neutrino is spinning in 1-to-1 to 4, or 1-to-1 to 8, or 1-to-1 to 12. All right? Now, neutrinos are coming from the nucleus, and the photon is coming from the shell. The shell is spinning in 1-to-2. The nucleus is spinning in 1-to-2 to, I'm not really sure yet, 6 seems to really work for the orbitals. 1-to-2 to 6 really seems to work. So this would mean that a neutrino would have to be 1-to-1 to something that's 6 divides into. So the first neutrino would have to be 1-to-1 to 12. It looks like. But let's see if we can get a picture of a neutrino for you with that extra spin. I just did it 1-to-1 to 4 because it was easier. So here's a neutrino. All right? That's 1 to 1 to 4. And it'll have either a clockwise spin or a counterclockwise spin. And the neutrinos that are coming from our atoms' protons, our atoms' protons have a clockwise spin. So the neutrinos that are coming from them when they get fused by stars, the stars release a counterclockwise neutrino. But when the electrons are radiating, the electrons are radiating a clockwise neutrino. So that's what a neutrino is. A neutrino is a photon with one more axis of spin, and that axis is around the direction of travel. And neutrinos are what mediate gravity. Okay? So that's kind of an explanation. Have a good day, you guys.